Waiting for pairing.
Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Life with Brian. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day out there. Just running a quick errand and decided to take out my 1994 Mazda RX-7 FD. And I've had the car now for a couple of months now, after not having it for almost a year. And so far it has not left me stranded yet, knock on wood. But I thought it might be good to shoot a video on whether or not this car might be a good fit for you, a good fit for your garage, kind of what my experience has been so far, what my thoughts are, and yeah, kind of where I guess it fits in my particular garage, and what makes me want to drive it more often, or maybe sometimes not as often or frequently. And yeah, just for anyone out there who might be considering this car or looking into it, hopefully this video is a little bit of a help. So let's go ahead and get started. So actually just waiting for the engine to warm up a bit. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if the Wankel, the rotary engine, needs any more particular time to warm up than a normal engine. I know that for my my Lamborghini and my 360 Modena, I usually wait like 3 to 5 minutes or so, maybe 2 to 3 minutes sometimes actually, from the time I start up the engine, just to kind of get it warm, get all the fluids going and whatnot, before I start on my way. I'm not sure if you have to wait that amount of time for the Wankel, but that kind of goes into the quirks of this car, if you will. Some of the extra maintenance you have to do, putting the premix with your gasoline, and checking the oil quite frequently, changing the oil as needed, revving it once a day, going to redline once a day, keeps the mechanic away, sort of deal. There are extra things that you have to do with this car that you don't have to do with other cars. When I'm driving my Supra or 3000 GT or any of my other JDMs, I don't really have to think about doing those things. They're a little bit less maintenance, if you will, from that regard. So again, because the rotary is a little bit quirky, and there are certain things that you have to do, and I confirmed this too with Andy, my car guru, because before I got the car, I did research, as I do with really any of my cars. I researched kind of all the extra things that you need to do or don't do, like don't shut it off and on in quick succession, could flood the engine. Redlining it helps the engine, that sort of the premix, obviously. But those are things that from my understanding, are things that are necessary to prolong the longevity of the engine and to keep you from getting stranded by the side of the road. So I think the engine is sufficiently warm now, so let's head out. So heading out of the garage now, guys, and yeah, so this is a 30-year-old car. It certainly doesn't look like a 30-year-old car. It doesn't drive like a 30-year-old car. It doesn't feel like a 30-year-old car. But it is a 30-year-old car, and you're going to have 30-year-old car issues. So I guess that's one of the main, not downers, but one of the things to definitely consider when you get a car like this. This is certainly not a daily driver, not because it's not comfortable, and not even so much because storage is limited, whatever, because, if you're not hauling things, you're not having kids ride with you on a daily basis, you don't need a big car. You don't even need a sedan. But the car is not something I would daily, mainly from a reliability standpoint. Again, my experience with the Wankel got off to a horrible start. Again, it was in the shop for about a year, engine rebuild, etc., etc. But since then, I haven't had any issues for the past couple of months, knock on wood. But just because it's an older car, it's a 30-year-old car, the Wankel has never been known for its bulletproof reliability. I definitely would not have this as a daily. Definitely as a weekend car, as a second or third car, definitely as a weekend fun car, absolutely. This checks all the boxes in that regard. But yeah, just the reliability would give me a concern to daily this. And so from that standpoint, I think it kind of narrows the the potential pool of people who would get a car like this, because some people don't have the garage space, obviously don't have the money to have a second or third car. But I mean, if you're, you know, if you can wrench yourself, I don't have the time or really the ability to do that, but if you can wrench on your own cars, if you have the ability to not have a car for some period of time in case something goes wrong with your RX-7, then, you know, this might be a good daily option. But I think for most people, you know, definitely this is more of a fun, more of a weekend car for sure. And really that kind of has to do, like I said, with the reliability of the Wankel, and the fact that this is a 30-year-old car. If you do have that extra garage space, and you are looking for that second or third car, that weekend car, honestly, guys, I just got my Mercedes SLS AMG. It's a fantastic car. I have a lot of other cool cars as well, but there are very few cars that if I was given the choice between hopping in to this RX-7 and another car, that I would choose that other car. Maybe my NSX, just because I have such sentimental attachment to that car, and it is honestly my favorite car of all time. But you know, this car is just so fun to drive. It has 255 horsepower, but this car is not about the power. It's not about the torque. It's not about the straight line speed. It's so light. It's nimble. It's agile. It's like a go-kart, but in every good way that a go-kart feels and handles. And you know, I just constantly try to find excuses to drive this car, because again, it's such a fun car to drive. The stick shift is amazing. Again, proper 5-speed is amazing. The clutch is pretty good as well. The car makes great sounds. This has a modified exhaust on it, so I'm not really sure what the stock exhaust sounds like, but you know, the exhaust sounds great, and especially the Wankel is already kind of a boisterous engine to begin with. So, you know, if you're a enthusiast who loves not so much cracks and potholes, but that grunt, that growl, this is definitely with the custom exhaust. It's definitely the car for you as well. Yeah, so it's just such a fun car to drive around with. I had a Miata for a couple years, but it was an automatic, so I cannot really compare the two in terms of the manual, but the lightness, the nimbleness, the agility of the Miata, this is better, I think. But if you like light cars, nimble cars, and that's really your thing, again, you can't beat this car. It's just really the only downside to having this car is, again, having to do that inevitable engine rebuild. I remember when I was looking at listings for RX-7s, you know, the posting would say, you know, second engine rebuild done on such and such a date, or third engine rebuild done on such and such a date. So when you get these cars, you expect that they've been through at least one, if not several, engine rebuilds. But you know, that's part of it, and they're not ridiculously expensive. I remember I got a quote for my 2017 Alfa Romeo, which had a bad engine, or two bad engines, and I remember getting a quote from the dealership, obviously, but still, of how much an engine rebuild would cost on that versus the engine rebuild on this one. It's not even close. Still, I mean, a nice pretty penny, but not, you know, knock your head off sort of. So I'm actually heading to the car wash right now. Another great thing about this car is it's a regular car. You don't feel bad about taking it through your regular automated car wash. So yeah, it's, you know, the pros of having this car definitely outweigh the cons, in my humble opinion. Again, it's just the joy that you get from driving this car. It's definitely an enthusiast's car. You have any bells or whistles? Give me one second, guys. Let me line up here so I'll completely just destroy my car. I never understood why when you get on these little tracks, like sometimes they're very helpful in terms of pointing you which direction to line up your car, because I'm horrible at that. I'm always worried about scratching the heck out of my rims. But yeah, this guy was just kind of looking at me like, I could actually see what I was doing. And you know, I'm just, yeah, I'm horrible at lining up my car. Very bad at parking my cars as well too. I guess maybe that's the Asian driver in me. But anywho, yeah, the only real downside to this car is the Wankel, from the perspective of it not being super reliable. There are the maintenance and the upkeep and the things you have to do with it that you don't have to do in other cars. But let me actually finish this up as I'm finishing the car wash, otherwise you may not be able to hear me. Some important information, stay tuned, guys. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Just finished going through the wash, but kind of wrapping things up. Should you get a Mazda RX-7 and FD, third generation, which is, I believe, the most desirable, most valuable iteration of the RX-7. I think if it's your only car, absolutely not. And also, if you're the kind of person who doesn't really like having to do much with your car, I'm kind of that person actually, but you don't really like to have to do much maintenance, like your own maintenance, I mean, not like taking to a shop, but like I said, adding the premix, checking your oil pretty frequently, making sure you've done your red line a day, just little things that are kind of unique to the Wankel. If that's not your thing, if that's not your cup of tea, I would definitely not get this car, because again, it's not like hopping into my S2000 or my NSX or my Supra or anything of this age, of this era, where you kind of just gas it up, make sure you change the oil every 5K or whatever, and go. This is not that car. At least from what I've been told, or from what people told me, if you treat it like that, it's going to leave you stranded. So yeah, if it's your only car, if you need it as a daily driver, again, it's a 30-year-old car, or you don't really like doing those maintenance things, don't get this car. But if you have room in your garage for a second, third car, weekend car, definitely get this car. It's, like I said, from a fun standpoint, fun factor, there are really, I can't think of any other cars in my garage right now, even considering like my Ford GT, my SLS AMG, anything that I would hop into before I would hop into this, or strongly consider going in this car as opposed to something else. So it's just that kind of that fun factor. The stick is amazing. It's a small car, it's an agile car, it's just fun to throw around, great in the corners, and for a 30-year-old car, the interior is not an aggressively annoying or bad place to be. So yeah, really love this car. Hope that helps you guys if you're considering this car, you're thinking about this car. Definitely hit me up for any other thoughts or ideas or questions I can answer in terms of my own ownership. Would love to kind of give you guys feedback as needed. But hope you guys like the video. Give it a thumbs up, comment below, like and subscribe, support the channel. Hope to catch you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.